evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton and Adam here, as we are every week, to talk about our favorite sport of racing. And Adam, you're struggling this week. Got a bit of the sore throat, laryngitis, bit of the mix. Why don't you say hello with your velvety, dulcet tones tonight?
This is going to be a hard one. Yeah, I've been sick as a dog. Didn't go to work today, so hopefully Jonathan shows up, the boss. Hi, Jonathan, if you're here. But I feel as bad as I sound. But hey, we're going to make this work.
I get it was. You just had to call off today for another reason. You knew John would be watching because he's a race fan, so this is the final icing on the cake, right? I get it. Okay, we feel it. It looks like we have a great show lined up. But let's throw up the real rundown now, Spencer, where we pull the page off, and it's all the arguments I've been waiting to have with Adam for 5 years, and we're going to make him grind it out tonight. No, actually, we're kidding. We have Kyle Steckley coming on. Gord Bennett's going to join us to talk about the new Cobra tire option that has made its way, slithered into Ontario, let's say. For now, we'll see what he has to say about that. And Gord has been around the racing game a long time with a unique perspective on all things racing. We got our Burger Barn vid of the week, and my dad, Gary, he's here at the house, and every week we forget. He comes in, he's like, I wait every week for the Burger Barn video of the week, and you forgot it again. I'm like, sometimes we just get sidetracked. So we got 2 Burger Barn videos a week. One's going to lead us into the ASA Stars National Tour event, and we got a lot to talk about. I mean, what can you say about Kyle Steckley, Adam? The kid's been lighting it up. But before we get into that, I need you to save all your words. So, we want the fans' input here. Let's talk about the Cup Series that just ended. Showed the 2 screenshots with William Byron Spencer. Is the system flawed? So this is a meme that came out today. When you go into the championship race with the most wins, most top 5s, most top 10s, best average finish, most stage wins, most points scored, and you get cooked by a guy that looks like a lumberjack. Well, a little bit of shade on Ryan Blaney there, but I still don't have an issue with Blaney because I think he's going to be a fantastic and classy champion. But show the next one, Spencer. This is by the old style of Cup points. If we would have been back in the old system. And William Byron would have beat Denny Hamlin by 17 points. Adam, you brought up a point that the NBA, like NCAA, could always make things better. Sorry, I'm coughing now. Are you still in the belief that the chase is where we should be?
So yes and no. I love what NASCAR has done. Stage racing, I think, has really brought a new element to the game. You don't have as many natural cautions as you used to. The championship is fabricated. It's a system that is designed to be able to showcase 4 people on the final day instead of like a Matt Kenseth consistently finishing their way to a title, going way back when, whether it was Matt Kenseth or whether it was Jimmy Johnson. So they've created that excitement all the way to the last day. Is that a true series champion? Not really. It's one race on Phoenix. It used to be one race at Homestead. Some drivers are better at some tracks than they are at others. So yeah, in the record book, they show as the champion. So NASCAR got what it wanted because it created that hype. Did William Byron get screwed? No, because he knew what it was going into it. But just like the NBA Cup, they've created this tournament for the NBA, like something that you couldn't even fathom, where other sports have World Cups, like Hockey World Cup, where you go play for your country. NBA figured out how to take it for themselves and have a dynamic event within the season to steal some of the NCAA type ideology of how exciting that event is and how freaking much people can gamble on it. Gambling matters.
Man, you look at here in Canadian television these days, every second commercial is either for a gambling or a pharmaceutical drug like Ozempic or what all these other things. Everything is out there. Let's not waste these guys' time because they've joined us. Gord's already here, but he's gonna have to wait because Gord's a half hour early, so we got a lot to wait. Gord, welcome on the line. I see you waiting in the waiting room. Kyle Steckley has joined us, and he's right on time. It's 8:05. Let's bring Kyle in and ask him. First question, Kyle: is the NASCAR system flawed, or is it the way we should be moving the sport in the future?
I think it's really good for the fans and for everyone at NASCAR. But personally, as a driver, I like the system that we use up here, the basic point system, because it rewards a driver being consistent all year and being aware of chasing for a championship and not just hunting for wins. It definitely makes it more exciting the way NASCAR does it in their top three levels. But as a driver, I'd prefer the classic way of doing it.
Kyle, congratulations on your fourth place finish from the weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a great trip down there at Nashville. It's an amazing place, and once again, they have everything right in line and really professional down there. So it was great racing with some tough competition and running up front.
So, in the last few months, you have raced at Nashville Fairgrounds, at New Smyrna. Those are a couple of badass racetracks. Talk about the experience of running on those fast, rough, full of character tracks.
Yeah, it's a blast. It's definitely different than what we have up here, and you carry a lot of speed. You don't slow down much for the corners, and it's a different type of driving atmosphere down there. So, just getting used to it and adapting to those kind of tracks is really neat, and definitely looking forward to hopefully doing more races on tracks like that in the future.
Kyle, is this just a, hey, let's go because we have the car and the ability and the time to go? Is this leading towards a game plan for the future for you across the states to do more of these types of events? Come on, kid. You've been with us long enough now. We're gonna start busting your balls. We want the real deal. What are you doing in 24? Enough with the polite guy. Let's hear it. Spill it.
Um, well, we're working on some really cool things. I will say that some things I think most people weren't necessarily expecting, but I can't say anything too much, and hopefully I can announce my plans that we're working on right now in the near future. But we're just doing all these races in the States because it's a blast. You're racing against the best guys out there, and I'm gaining a ton of experience in the car, out of the car, learning a lot every weekend. And this past weekend in Nashville was a big one for going down to the Snowflake. We struggled there last year, and we wanted to go down and get another race under our belt before we went back to the Snowflake this year again, because we did win the championship in APC. That we're getting support from APC to go down and run the Snowflake. So we wanted to be 100% prepared and go down there and be a threat to win. So I think we definitely gained a lot of experience, learned a lot, and know what we need to do for the Snowflake this year in December.
What would you say about the style of driving down in Nashville? Is there any more etiquette than what you find up here? Any less? What's that like?
At the end of the day, I think every track's the same in etiquette. Like, it's just a different style. So Nashville, you need to be easy on the throttle. A lot of tracks up here, you need to be easy on the throttle. But at Nashville, you're just carrying so much speed, and it's so rough that you know any little mistake can be cost you a race car. Where up here, things aren't quite as fast. It's a little slower, and you have a bit more time to keep your car under you. But coming out of two at Nashville, going over those huge bumps, your car can be straight 1 second and headed for the fence the next. So it can be a little scary, but you just got to understand the risk that you're putting yourself in, and be comfortable in your race car.
Kyle, when you go down south like that to races like Nashville, that's so storied with a lot of eyes on it, and the same thing with the Snowflake, as you mentioned, do you take into consideration, all those eyes that are on you, almost like, a high school footballer who knows the college scouts are watching? Does that enter into your mind at all? Like, you carry yourself so well as it is, you perform well, but do you ever think, man, there could be a lot of people watching me, and a fourth place run at somewhere like Nashville does count more than just a fun run and, hey, we did good, because it could lead to a lot of eyes.
Yeah, definitely. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself. I put a lot of pressure on our program to go and perform well. And we're taking our own equipment down to these races. And, a lot of people ask me why we don't do rental deals, why we don't just go down in someone else's car when APC is helping us out to do this stuff, and they say, it'll be way less stress. You'll be able to just show up and drive and do your thing. But at the end of the day, I don't want to show up and drive and finish eighth. I want to go down there and race for the win. I feel that this 22 racing program and myself and my team, we can do just as good, if not better, than the people down south. So, we're taking one race at a time and learning, but at the end of the day, I want to win races and I want to put myself at the front and make a name for myself and my team. So that's why we do it ourselves. And I definitely feel the pressure, but at the end of the day, it's just another race.
How many changes did you have to make to your car to go down south?
Quite a few. You need it's some different engine rules, different shock rules. You can use a 3-speed transmission, and you have to move the engine 1 inch to the right, which ends up being a big pain with your rear end alignment and all your shock and trailing arm mounts. So it's quite a bit of a change, but at the end of the day, the car still handles the same, still drives the same, just with some different parts in there.
Kyle, I totally get where you come from, bringing your own stuff. I mean, Adam and I have seen enough of these rides. Like, Shweeken is a hotbed for owners, and it's not always a great relationship. That's my advice to any young kids. If there's any way you can bring your own stuff and work your way through it, you're going to be way better off in the long run. But Kyle, what makes the 22 racing team so well, perform so good? Like, everybody puts in the work. Everybody can buy the same parts. Everybody puts in probably close to the same hours. So what is it that makes your team so well on so many disciplines? And we're talking about Pinty series with various drivers, various disciplines, various tracks. You're coming as a rookie, running well. You're running the APC. And the other thing that we've seen with G4's years following the APC tours, we know the weekends when, your dad's away, because Adam's in the booth calling the Quebec race, and your dad's got his teams down there, and here you are winning with your own, what I call the small team. It's probably disrespectful to you guys, but it's you and your buds out of a 24-foot close drive, and you're still performing the same way as when you have the full support of the NASCAR backing team or the best guys that 22 Racing has. Again, not to say your guys aren't the best, but you know where I'm coming from. So what makes 22 Racing that good all the time on so many different disciplines and so many different series?
I think it's just the ambition to always be better. We're never happy unless we're in victory lane. So we're always researching, we're always putting more work, changing things, trying things, testing. Testing's a huge thing, but we're always trying things, just trying to find that little edge, and we're never happy unless we're in victory lane. So I think being that way is a huge thing. I know some guys go to the track and finish third and they're happy, and I'll never be happy with a third place finish. So we always strive to be the best out there, and we put in a lot of work, and it doesn't come easy all the time. There's a lot of struggles that people don't always see, but at the end of the day, it's all worth it when you're in victory lane.
Kyle, did you get a chance to watch any of the races from Phoenix this weekend?
I listened to the Xfinity race and the Cup race, parts of it, but I didn't get to watch any of it.
Okay, so it's probably a lucky thing for you, because I was going to ask your opinion. It got pretty ugly in the truck series, and it got a lot of criticism from a lot of seasoned veterans. When I look at drivers like you, Trayton Lapsevich, there's a host of others, but the two of you stand out for being so young. I can't picture you getting dropped into a situation where you'd get in the rat race, like has happened with some of the truck series races. Where is your mindset on? You said you'll never be happy with third. What will you not do to win a race?
Well, I'll never wreck a car, that's for sure, because no matter who you're racing or who it is, at the end of the day, there's 100 other people that are working on that car that have nothing to do with what's going on the track, and a lot of times it ends up not going onto the driver's hands, but it ends up going on to the guys who work hard behind the scenes. At the end of the day, I want to race how people are racing me, but you can only do that to a certain extent. So I try and race with respect, gain respect each and every time I'm out there, and then a lot of times I've finished second or third instead of going for the win just because I'm looking at the bigger picture. I try and look at the bigger picture, and at the end of the day, a championship's different though. So I've never been in the situation where I need to, become super aggressive to win a championship. But I think, if that was on the line like it was for the Truck Series, I think I'd go pretty far. I still wouldn't go as far as doing something that's just silly when you don't have the fastest truck. You shouldn't be making moves to spin a guy out to try and win a championship when at the end of the day you just didn't have the best car out there. And you gotta have respect or else you won't get anywhere.
Kyle, one of our fan questions asked, you got to work with Stuart Friesen a couple of times. There, did questions? Did Stu Friesen give Kyle any advice when teaming with him at Auschwitz?
Yeah, it was cool working with Stuart. After that, we ended up going down to Phoenix last year, and I helped him out on the truck a little bit. So we grew a bit of a relationship there, and he's definitely a great guy. And he's helped me out a bit over the past year, but then this year he came back up and was with White Motorsports, unfortunately. So we haven't talked as much recently, but he's a great guy, and happy to see a Canadian running strong in the Truck Series.
Kyle, forgive my stupidity. Have you announced anything for next year?
No, no.
Okay. And you're not prepared to announce anything?
Well, I'll be back in the APC series as much as I possibly can be, depending on my schedule. But I plan to run as many races as my schedule allows in the APC series. I have a ton of fun going out there and running each and every weekend. I think there's a great group of racers, and I'll be back in that series doing whatever I can do at the local tracks.
Read into that what you will, folks. Kyle, what was your most memorable moment from the season? You had some great runs. When you look back on 23, like, what's the one highlight for you?
Definitely the championship at the end of the year. Just championships are so hard to come by, and we've been chasing it for, I guess, just our second year, really. But there's such high competition, and to be able to say that I beat some big names in that series, I'm really proud of our team being a new team in late models, and just the dedication that we put into achieving that goal, and we made it happen. So that's the highlight of my year, along with a lot of race wins. Some big wins at Flamborough Speedway, which is my favorite track in Ontario for sure. Still, I think it always will be. But that was cool to win some big races there. I got the $10,000 gold rush win at Flamborough, which was my biggest money-paying win of my career. So that was a pretty cool experience. And just racing with respect with all the guys is always a blast.
Does your dad make you put all of your winnings back into the race program, Kyle, or do you get to put a little in the bank because you earned it?
I've never put any prize money in the bank until Auschwitz this year. I got half of my winnings on the Wednesday, so that was really cool. That was a really cool weekend working with Kenny, and then being able to hop in the car and not quite repeat what he did, but come close second to teammate Trayton. So that was a really cool week, and luckily I got to make a bit of money off racing that week.
Clint, can you expand on that a little bit? People may not understand how deals come about or what happens to prize money and what some drivers get and what so many drivers don't get.
Yeah, in what way? I mean, we help lay out the purse, but
there's so many drivers that have purchased their rides anymore that unless you factor in your own salary, the prize money might go back to the team. But if you look at some of the old school handshakes, so I'm going to venture to guess, Kyle, because you were a fill-in for Ken Schrader, the driver of that car was slated to get half the prize money. So it's probably what Kenny made the night before. So it's only fair that that's what you would get. Meanwhile, when you drive your own 22 car, that's the family ride. Am I close here?
Yep.
So a lot of people don't realize some drivers don't ever get to see a single dollar of what they race for. They're just happy to be out there racing. For me, I want to see Kyle Stackley putting money in his pocket. I want to see Trayton Lapsevich putting money in his pocket because there is no point in getting better and better and better at what you do to become the best at not making any freaking money. You can't sustain that. So that's all I wanted to expand on that a little bit to show that there's a ton of drivers that write checks to go racing and never ever cash them. And that's not a business model. It wasn't a question, but that was my rant, Clint.
Kyle, what's up next for you other than the snowflake? Is that it?
As of right now, that is it. Yes, we're already got the car back in the shop, and we're getting it all cleaned up, doing the maintenance on it tonight, and then we're gonna go at how we can make it faster, do some more research, and try a couple things. And I'd like to get out testing somewhere before the snowflake, but as you guys know, it's getting kind of cold here, so I don't know where I'm gonna go, but hopefully we can get out and put some laps on the car and try and make it a bit better for the snowflake, and then hopefully by the time it's a snowflake, I have an announcement out about what my plans are for the 2024 season.
That's all I had for you.
And I've only got one more. Is there anyone already confirmed to any of the Steckley prepared Pinty's cars or NASCAR Canada cars for next year?
Not that I'm aware, but I'm not too big in 22 racing. So that'd be a question for my dad. But as far as I'm aware, no, nothing is confirmed. And, a lot of no schedules out yet. There's some rule changes. So the NASCAR Pinty Series, nothing's lined up yet. And I'm sure stuff will come around here soon as the new year comes around and we get some more information on the series. But as of right now, I do not believe anything is confirmed.
Kyle, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Good job, Kyle. We'll be cheering you on as he works downstates. The APC reigning champ, Kyle Steckley, everyone. Man, the kid's looking good. Adam got a good future. I'm excited to see what he's got up his sleeve. If you weren't reading between the lines there, his APC announcement was kind of like the B plan, right? We need to hear what the A plan is going to be. So,
yeah, I'm excited to hear what he does. Can I fight with Alvars for a minute, Clint?
Yeah, sure. Give it your best.
Alvars, I am totally not into the spin and win, but I will give you a couple of takes on it. I believe there might be a time where you should spin somebody out, and that would be if they did you so wrong that they deserve to have that amount of wrong done to them. Nothing to do with winning, though. That's just standing up for yourself. As far as being aggressive, giving some bumper, I believe you give what you get. If you want to race with respect, race with respect. If someone wants to roll up their sleeves and rub and beat and bang on each other, then so be it. Maybe that's what that day is going to become. But the huge but, if you're racing a NASCAR truck, and let's use Mosport as an example, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, it is crystal clear what is not only allowed but encouraged in the last turn of the last lap in order to win a race. And it's fine to stand up on a soapbox and say, I believe in pure racing. I would never touch anybody. Guess what? If you want to race for money, if you want someone else to pay the bill for you to drive a race car or a race truck, and that person expects you to put enough bumper to the truck in front of you to move them off the track so you can win a race, you better effing do it, or you're just going to wind up commenting on other people's talk shows later on about how proud you are of the way you race. That's not a knock at you. I guess it was, but it's not. But the point is, you have to get up and do what you need to do, like it or not, if that's what's expected of you, or step aside and let someone into the seat who is willing to do those things. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying you got to play the game.
Look, until the sanctioning bodies and series take action, those actions are allowed. So you got to just play by the rules or like you said, sit and complain about it. Let's bring Gord Bennett on. Gord's been waiting for about 25 minutes now. Gord, welcome to the program. Gord is with Grand Bend Speedway these days. Gord, tell us a bit about what you're up to, and then we want to talk about Cobra Race Tires. Oh, we got a mute.
boys.
Hold on. Hey, Gord. We got you now.
Glad to see everybody. So, Grand Bend Speedway, we've been 4 years here, Tabitha and I. And we take the little quarter mile that everybody thinks is a go-kart track and trying to make it a stock car track. So we've been racing big cars on it and still do development stuff and everything in between. And yeah, we've been actually pretty successful at it, starting at ground zero with I had Varney Speedway or Full Throttle Motor Speedway for probably 8 years and kind of helped build that up and sold it to Paul there. And then we decided to make Grand Bend our home. And here we are going on year 5. Yeah. So that's kind of what's going on at Grand Bend Speedway.
Does everything translate for the most part of what you were doing up at Varney or Full Throttle over to Grand Bend?
Well, I was kind of thinking the other day, I think the three of us sitting here go back 20 years, back to last weekend when I was kicking around on the dirt track there. And doesn't matter at what racetrack or whatever, everything translates from one track to another. Dirt, asphalt, you're basically trying to, it's like car racing. If your car is loose every week and you come back with it the next week and the next week, it's your own fault. If you don't adjust the car and make changes, you'll get left in the dust or have a wrecked car every week. So racetracks are the same. You got to keep your eye on what's going on out there. Tabitha and I basically go to, 60, 80, 100 races a year. We go down to Florida all winter and we see what people are serving for food, how they run their races, asphalt and dirt and everything in between, and try and come up with a better product. So that's it. Yes, it translates from what we did there to here to what I did at Schweeken back in the day, and and anything that did in racing over the years. Even back when I raced back what Kyle's he was just on. Like I did all that tour, raced at the All American 400 and the Snowball Derby and all that stuff. So yeah, good on him. But when I was at the tracks, I was always paying attention there to the home track classes. As much as I was racing, I'd go up and look and go, hey, you know what? Let's see what street stocks and they're all having problems in turn 1. I would go set my car up for turn 1 because that's the hardest spot of the track. And that's what basically, how you're either eating steak or eating beans that night. That's how racing was and still is. Yeah.
Gord, you've always kind of ran your own line, let's say, when it comes to the racing management. You've never been afraid to step outside the box and try something that you thought was better for the industry or more cost-effective for the racers. And I think that's probably what leads us to the Cobra Tire. So tell us a bit about the Cobra Tire. What is the plan for Ontario? Who would be affected or touched by it, let's say? Who do you anticipate picking this up? Just take it from there.
Well, basically, Cobra Tire is a brand new tire manufacturer. Came out with a tire in April. There was maybe a test tire, one single tire before that. We got on the ground floor with with the group there, back at the development part of it. And what happened is I said that I wasn't I couldn't really commit to it. And so a bunch of people have been calling all over Canada and stuff, trying to get the distributorship and stuff like that. And they waited and waited, and I called them back later and said, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm ready. I can do this. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right. And that's how we got the distributorship. And we went over, talked to them. So with Cobra Tire, doesn't matter if I sell a tire in Canada or the States, we're trying to sell tires. So this tire is built for racers. It cycles and cycles and cycles. We've done a bunch of testing. You might have seen some Facebook. We did it live, no BS goes on when you do stuff live, like we're doing it right now. So basically, if the car spun out or did whatever, you're there and people could see. So the tire cycles, we got laps, like 270 laps on tires that are faster than the tires that we put on brand new. They're actually slow, and the car almost spins out on a new tire. Like if you're going to try and time trial, on a normal tire, you want a sticker tire when you're time trialing on asphalt. A 300 lap tire would kick your butt in time trials. So it's kind of a backer. You got to work the tire in. The other thing with this tire is it's actually made with all rubber. It doesn't have any plastic content in the tire. So it has a lot different characteristics than some of the other tires that are on the market. So like I said, to build a race tire, for Cobra Tire to build a race tire that does this kind of laps and this kind of savings, they're not actually out to sell a gazillion tires. The tire is actually built to get more cars on the racetrack. And to me, that's a big selling feature.
So, right. I want you to talk a bit more about that, Gord. Right now, if you go to a big late model race, you go to the track and you can buy 4 tires or 6 tires or 8 tires. If the Cobra tire comes in to be, how often would you be buying tires? How many events could I run without having to buy a new tire?
You could typically run, I'd say 800 competitive laps on a tire easy, and an economic team will run it right to the cords. You'd get a full season out of a set of tires. So less than a quarter. So if you say you're on a touring series up here, and I'm not going to name names, but if you're on a touring series up here in Canada and you got a $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 tire bill, Cobra tire bill, if it was $5,000, I'd eat my hat, because you can test with them, you can run them all. You need to get on the tires. So if you could save all the teams, even $10,000 a team times 15 teams, that's way more than any points fund that you'd ever be able to give the series. So yeah, it's an amazing tire. I sell the tire, but the tire sells itself, and not just at our track. They run them all over, test all over the states. Like we have 9 Michigan tracks just signed up on Cobra tires on the asphalt just over the border. Like we're basically 45 minutes from the border here at Grand Bend, and 9 tracks just signed up alone. So speaks for itself.
What divisions do you anticipate running this? Obviously, with your home track, you can mandate it on a couple of them. Has anybody else talked to you? Obviously, there's no deals you can announce right now, but what can you tell us about the future of the tire? And the other question I've heard is, or the statement we've heard is, it costs pretty much the same as the current tires, but what you're telling us is the longevity is where the savings come in.
Yeah, because honestly, the tire is actually made in Taiwan, and with the tariffs and duties and stuff, and how much it takes to ship it and do all the stuff, it's not a cheap tire. It wasn't built as a cheap tire. It's a premium tire. So that's the savings is in the longevity. And when you take any stock car asphalt tire and you can cycle it as many times and get the speed out of it, back out of it, back out of it, back out of it, that's where the effectiveness and saving your race cars even, like you're not blistering tires, you're not doing some of the other stuff. You get to the other thing that we found is you can really beat on the tire and it comes right back, which I found kind of a little bit odd. Like some of the other tires, I had Towel City tires on our cars at Varney for a couple years, trying a little different thing and cost effective, but the tire had no grip. And then if you shook it, it would actually, like the car would be out of control, where the Cobras act just like the other 2 competitor tires, yet it goes on and on and on. So that's where we got, yeah. So when we poke the tires, you're in about the 62 to 65, 68, depending on the temperature. And but that's what it pokes hard. And then between 48 and 54 when you're out racing at speed and stuff. So it does have the grip. It actually needs some heat in the tire, and then it gets better as it goes.
Well, it'll be fun to see how it plays out. Gord, you've been to so many racetracks. Can you give us one or two stories of a track that just does something really, really well? And I don't care if it's food or entertainment or parking, like something that stands out that you could say, man, if everyone did it like this place.
Okay, you need to make your way to Thunder Road in Vermont, a little quarter-mile track. And when I raced there, they had seating for 3,500 people. And this is back in the American Canadian Tour days. We went there, seating for 3,500. There was 10,000 people. It's on a mountain. They were at the top of trees. They were sitting in trees and on the hill, and it was insane. But the passionate of those people, and there's people like Dave Moody, who's a good friend of mine. He was the announcer back in the day there, and so we were all, to be part of that tour. And then I raced the ASA tour, and then the Snowball Derby, and like I said, I think one year I raced 92 races, and that was 100, 200, 300, 400 lap races. Concord Big Ten series back in the day with, Bobby Labonte and all that. So I was very fortunate to race against all the, the old, back in the day guys. When I started racing at 16 at Flamborough, and I started in a super late with a big block in it in my dad's car, 1982, and raced against Junior Hanley and Biederman and Earl Ross and Zardo. List goes on and on. So it was I'm considering myself fortunate on that aspect, but I feel that I didn't learn all the stuff that you learn in a four-cylinder, the bad things, because you start in a late model and you do something wrong, and they'll be over and they tell you right quick how to not do things. When the higher up in the tours that you get, there's no forgiveness. I remember Tom Curley, who ran the American Canadian Tour. If it's your day, it's your day. If it's not, take what you can get, and your day will come. So I preach that every week at Grand Bend here.
Gord, one last question. These are only for asphalt so far, correct? Is there a dirt option? That's a question we've been asked here online.
I was talking to them tonight because I knew the question was going to be asked. We started out with the 10-inch tire there in April. We have some 13-inch, 14-inch, 15-inch on slicks and treaded for the asphalt, and scheduled for next year's dirt stuff. So, but you don't want to overstep. We had a meeting there just a little bit ago, and we discussed this. We got about 20 different tires that we're making molds for, and it's not cheap. And the development of the tire does take time to do it properly, but absolutely dirt racing, you'll see stuff come from Cobra Tire in that. So yeah, you can be looking for that, and we'll be around seeing you guys when the time comes. So we'll have stuff that we'll race at Ash Weekend and all the dirt tracks and stuff. Yeah. The other thing is I'm taking a car down to Florida, and we're going to test all that at the Florida tracks, the Cobra Tire. We kind of have a deal that I live in Florida in the winter, so we go down there, and we're taking a car, and we're going to go test at all the asphalt tracks down there and show them what we got for tires as well, because it's really taken off. Up here in Ontario, Clinton, you mentioned, is there people that are interested in the tire? Absolutely. I've had a little bit of contact. I've had people even go over my head and contact the head office, trying to, go right over my head or whatever. But, they don't realize how deep we're in on Cobra Tire. I'll be in the PRI booth down at Indy mid-December there. So it'll be Tabitha and I that will be running the Cobra Tire booth down there. So if anybody's down there, they'll see us there as well.
All right, Gord, thanks for the update. We'll definitely be in touch.
Yeah. And if you want to talk about that LS crate motor, I'll stick around and chat with you if you feel like it. I got a couple things I was looking at, and so if not, then you guys can carry on.
No, we can go with that, Gord. you're involved around the time the 602 came involved. As we all know, as racers here in the province, the 602 touches us a lot of ways. In my world, it is the crate, the core of the crate sprints. It's the core of the Thunderstocks here in Ontario on the dirt. A lot of the asphalt places are running. The dirt sportsmen all have it in there too. Late models are running it some places, but mostly they're on the 604. But the LS motor has been a discussion, and a lot like tires too. Promoters are trying to figure out how we can get the cost of racing back in the box a bit. I mean, a crate motor when we started a crate was $3,500 here in Canada. The last thing we can, if you went to GSR to buy one today, you're looking at $8,800 to get even started talking about it. It's gone too far. Well, we're all in this deal. So the next logical step appears to be the LS motor. Show the picture of it, Spencer.
So
the LS.
First off,
well, I know, Gordon, you're
it?
not saying no, but this is the current truck motor. And again, I'm an announcer here, so Gordon, you can fill me in if I'm wrong. But basically, this is the current truck motor that's in a lot of trucks in junkyards. And this would be basically getting back to the spirit of where we would be, as that's how it's sold on the internet anyways, Gord. Obviously, there's a lot of opinions and a lot of thoughts about how it can get out of hand. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I was actually the one that brought crate motors up. There was called the Power Super Modified, and all the track owners and everything laughed at me. Well, a crate motor, that's the stupidest idea ever. There is other options for the crate motor that people might not even be aware of, and I'll bring it up. Mercury makes a Quicksilver motor. It's identical. They actually make 3 different motors for oval track racing. One's identical to the 602. They make a 383 cubic inch motor and a 409 cubic inch motor. And then Jasper is who I was actually. Jasper Engines makes a stage 2 oval track motor that's very, very reasonable. And again, I'm very informative with what goes on in the racing world. And I talked to the high ups at GM, and the crate motor is at risk. It's not, they're going electrics and stuff like that, and you can't get them as much, and the motors aren't doing as good as they were. But there's a couple different manufacturers out there that will definitely service the whole industry, no problem at all. There's still lots of they'll still make parts and pieces to either make a spec motor or the LS motor. You got to have different headers. You got to have different this and that. And for the casual, maybe the top 5, 10 teams, but the back markers that can't afford a set of $1,000 LS headers, or some of the add-ons and a different ignition, and it goes on and on with the add-ons.
So
go ahead.
I want to rebut a couple things you said there. Okay, There's no doubt there's other options in the industry. I think this discussion comes back to, then we jump everybody into a Jasper and they crank the motors up, their prices up, and they got us by the ball, same way 602s have us all right now. I think this discussion comes back to somewhere where we're going to be talking about how can we get back to guys being able to build their own stuff to get the cost down that way. How do you get the backyard mechanics back involved so it's not a complete package that you're having to buy for 3, 4. They were bitching about this when they were $3,500.
I agree.
Saying how do you get this?
Totally
so I think that's so. Let's form the discussion around that. Is there a way we can get it back to a junkyard package to save street stock racing the way we have saved mini stock racing by? Because Adam, let's talk about this. It wasn't but 6-7 years ago where people were putting way too much money into a shitbox Mustang. And no offense to the Mustang guys out there, but they were 20 years old. They kept pouring more and more money into them. Then they want to sell them, and they're like, "Well, I got to get 13.5 out of this mini stock. I've been grooming it for 8 years and putting the best stuff into it year over year." And then we get back to the Cobalt generation that I've been calling it lately, where you have guys come out and they can build a mini stock that can whip that Mustang's ass for $1,000, destroy it, throw it away, build a new one, and come back in the spring, back to the spirit of where it was. And I think the mini stock kind of got back to that. Can we get the Thunderstock street stock package back to that with a junkyard package? Doug, Gordon.
Yes. when I originally did the crate motors and we were going to do them, part of your membership really should be to submit a motor and have put it on a dyno, so the tech has your dyno numbers before you get going. And then all you really need to do is have a thing where somebody puts some money up to put it back on a dyno. Doesn't matter if you build it, you do whatever, like, when it goes on the dyno and they put a restrictor plate or whatever you want to do, and that opens it up to pretty much any motor that you got out there. The only way we're going to get straightened out is actually have the tech of it before you even start the season, and have the numbers, the seals, all this stuff and everything we're doing. That way, you want to build your own stuff and submit it, go ahead.
I love
That's
it.
my feeling on it.
I really, sorry, I would cut you off if you got something. Just put up your hand like we talked about. But I love this, Gord. Some of the other tracks in our region on the dirt had this situation before. I firmly believe we got 3 and 4 generations of families out there that have, look at what I'm looking behind your shoulder, what kind of crap you got under your bench. And no, what I don't mean by crap by it, but you look in your garage, Gord, I bet you could probably build 8 350s for under that, the torque and horsepower rating, whatever we want it to be yourself. And I mean, we weren't in racing that long with my dad, and we built up a pretty good arsenal of old stuff we had. And I think, that's a better question, maybe, Adam, is who's going to come out and say that? Build what you want as long as you got this foot-pounds of torque and under this horsepower rating, and you can bring that package in to say, hey, let's just say we were going to do that for the 360 sprints, which were way off kilter. But I'll put myself in there because I live in a glass house, so let's break the glass at our house. Let's say we said, okay, you can build a motor for the 360 sprints as long as it's under 600 horsepower and 550 foot-pounds of torque or whatever the average situation there would be. Build what you want. I think we need to figure that situation back out, because it won't be long before we don't have cores. So, Gord, what have we been forced to do here? We have all these crates, 70-plus crates now in Ontario on the 602 package, 100-plus dirt Thunder stocks, and I'm only talking for the stuff I'm touching, not to mention all the stuff you're dealing with at your tracks. So we recently opened it up to a 20 thou over dished piston rebuild kit, because they all have these cores out there, but we couldn't just expect them, to throw them away. So we have recently had to adapt our rules on the dirt to allow a rebuild package for the 602 by obviously approved builders and get them resealed. But I think it's a big element that this sport's missing. And sure, the argument is kids don't get dirty the way they used to, but we're not giving them the opportunity to.
I think that there's still kids out there that can get dirty. It's just it's who's teaching them. I think I had a deal here with the Outlaw body on a late model. A little quarter-mile short track should have a piece of aluminum on it, but, everybody wants to go buy the fiberglass because it's easier to just go buy another panel, but, put a $300 panel on the back, or you put a piece of tubing bumper on. I tried to pitch it for years. Now our new rules is a template body, and now it's spiked it back up to, 10, 11 car count from nothing. So, but we did actually allow built motor because there's lots of them out there still. And the other thing is you got to take your rules packages to the size of the track. Certain tracks, motor isn't a deal. It's not we're on a little quarter-mile short track. You got to drive. Our motor package, it won't work at Delaware or Ducasa if they were running or whatever, but on little quarter-mile tracks, you can get away with. So you got to look at what you got.
I still think as the stewards of the industry, it's up to guys like you and I who have a bit of pen power, if you will, to write the rules in a way that we're not thinking about our own backyard. Let's think industry-wide, because that's going to help us all. Gord, and just to finish off, I think the LS motor comes to us in the vein that it's the next generation to get us to fuel injection and all these types in a V8 format, because let's face it, even though the package you mentioned, the Mercury, the Jasper, that's still 1940s, 50s technology we're running on, right? So, it's still kick-ass, but I'm just saying, that to get us to the next level of technology,
I'm not against it. Yeah, I'm not against it. I'm just saying if you're doing it, it's like if you switch to LS from the traditional old style GM 602 crate, it'd be like switching to a Ford or a Chrysler motor. Like because with buying all the add-ons and the changes and the stuff, and a lot of teams don't have that. We're in the other side of the thing where you keep changing rules. Every rule change costs money, right? And
Yep.
that's another serious problem that we got. It's trying to keep everybody still involved in the sport and to come out every single week. And a lot of people don't even want to race every week anymore. That's so
Well,
we
Gord,
really as a group have to fix this.
you make a rule package that has a foot-pounds of torque and a horsepower. Adam and I are going to get someone to build us an LS, and we'll come out and race with you. Great chat with you tonight, Gord. We're going to be in
Thank you.
touch, okay? We
Okay,
appreciate your
anytime,
time.
boys. That's what I do for a
Adam,
living. So
anything you want to add to the discussion, Adam, before we cut Gord off?
No, great insight, Gord. Thank you.
all right, anytime, boys.
Adam's struggling with his voice, so I let him rest tonight, Gord. Thanks for your time, buddy. We appreciate it. Great discussion there. It's always great we can have a spirited thing. Scott McPhail says claim a rule, be able to buy a top 5 finisher's Ellis engine for $1,000. Now that gets us back to the magic that gets me excited here on what we need to do with this industry. I think the fact we're even talking about other options is exciting.
You know what I love, Clint? I love a claimer rule where the claimer is happy and the claimee is happy and the track is happy. It's possible.
We've not seen it. It's like that unicorn. We've heard it exist, but nobody's ever brought it to town. All right, let's get in the Burger Run video before I get disinherited by Gary here in the other room. I just heard some footsteps on is that dad coming? I said, well, come in and yell at me. Here's the Burger Barn videos of the week. This first one up, let's hope we got it. This is the Marshall getting punched at Mosport back in the day. Comes up and say, hey, bud, come off the track and whammo! Might have to play it a couple times. That is James Hill back at the Canadian GP back in the 70s. And he comes, you can't walk out on the track and just hooks him with the perfect jaw shot.
Was it
Now,
James Hunt?
yes, sorry. Do you think you got time for that? Do you think you got time for that?
What?
Like, do you think he sat out a race or got a penalty? No, I think they had a beer at the end and it was all good back then, right?
Oh, probably. He signed his tooth. Signed the tooth in
He's
there,
at the bar going, he hit me right here. Can you see it? All right, let's jump into our next discussion. This revolves around the ASA Stars National Tour, Adam. Big topic of debate on social media after the event. They should have thrown the yellow, seems to be the common sense thing to say. Let's see what everybody else has to say.
Will be credited with the Stage 2 victory. We'll get that answer for you here shortly. One more look here. Down into turn 1. That's the initial start with Cole Butcher. Got in the back of the 33 of, looks like Francis did not get up to speed. I thought Butcher got the wall. He got in the backside and then some of Francis's car, who is not at the song. But look at the fluid down. The fluid was down there. The officials were assessing it as the field was pouring into turn 3. The caution flag and lights were on as the leaders came to turn 1. Focusing on the fluid being put down by the 28 of Cole Butcher.
Send it down to Zach, who's with Ty Majeski.
Guys, thanks. Ty, you were the first one back to turns 1 and 2. What happened?
Yeah, the whole racetrack is oiled down. Absolutely inexcusable. The race director should be pulled out of there right now. There's no excuse for that. He probably wrecked. I don't know how many guys wrecked down in turn 1. Absolutely no excuse. Unbelievable. That guy should be embarrassed.
So just roll it again if you can, Spencer, without the audio. So during the race, Adam, as they mentioned, Cole Butcher got into an event on a restart, was leaking fluid all over turn 1 and 2, and they basically let the field come back around. And when they came back around, this is when they're coming back around. Is this the start of it? I think
no, this is the original.
So when they come back around, right here, it's all oil, and it looked exactly like that Ransomville wreck many years ago when the rain hit coming into turn 1, and everybody just piles off. So you've got a major race here, so there's Cole Butcher. He's beat up. He's leaking fluid, and this is what they're talking about. And here they come back down the straightaway. Now watch all the leaders as they get into turn 1 and 2. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. About 8th was the first one to get through on the bottom.
You know, that sucks. And I'm sure, well, I can't put feelings in someone. The fact that the announcer said the officials are discussing, I forget the term the announcer used, but there is no discussion if there's fluid on the track. I would hope the race director feels terrible. I would hope if they thought there was fluid on the track, they would have just gone yellow instantly. There's no discussion to be had. But it's unfortunate. We got a lot of
They
people
had a
on
statement.
radios.
Show the screenshot. So they made a couple of statements today where it came out. And basically, they said, National Stars Tour issued a statement following the All-American 400, a statement regarding the Lap 212 event. The Lap 212 incident on Sunday's All-American 400 Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. The ASA Stars National Tours reviewed and acknowledged the contributing factors of the on-track racing incident on the Lap 212 restart of Sunday's All-American 400 Nashville Fairgrounds. The ASA Stars National Tour strives to maintain the highest standards in short-track paint racing. The situation, circumstance, and results were not of the highest standards we strive for. I think that's what, with this, we're reviewing all our procedures in an effort to maintain continuous improvement. The incident in question took place following the lap 211 restart when Cole Birch's car suffered front-end damage during a stack-up as the cars took the green flag. Several drivers spun in the fluid left behind by Butcher's car one lap later, resulting in a multi-car incident. Despite his own involvement in the incident, while leading the race, Ty Majeski was able to secure the ASA Stars National Tour Championship. William Sawalch won the event, assuming the lead following the incident. So, I don't know. You didn't love the apology, right, Adam?
It wasn't an apology. They acknowledged. It's a non-statement. And in their statement, they say a number of cars spun out. No, a number of cars piled into the wall. Be really careful. Spencer, show them what I think the Stars Tour should have released instead. Or
just a couple.
Or
wow, we got the full.
Like it's so. They put out a statement, not putting out a statement. There's no apology there. There's no explanation there. There's no what are we going to do better next time? No, they're assessing this. They effed up. And I guess you can't really put out a statement to say that because then teams might be able to sue you for damages. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But I don't know.
Absolutely not. You're absolutely not going to assume fault.
That statement said nothing. Nothing.
Yeah. Hey, like I said to Gord, I live in a glass house as an official too. So, you're not always perfect, man, but that's a big rock through that piece of glass. They got to be better if they know it. And the racers, they're giving it back to them pretty good too. So,
but if you're going to apologize, the word sorry or apologize needs to be there. Do it, own it, move on. Don't put out some fancily worded piece of shit that says nothing when everybody knows what they're trying to do is say, we know there was a big mistake and people are pissed at us.
Yeah, I think
that statement.
I might have just ducked and ran. I don't know. You need to make a statement today. Show up next week and be better.
100%.
High Limit Racing made their big announcement. That was the worst kept secret. Matt Weaver was on our show last week talking about it. The war has officially begun as High Limit Racing now, as they'll be called, has announced the name change. They announced today it will be a 50-plus race full national tour, which means the gloves are off to go head-to-head with the World of Outlaws and Dirt Vision, as the High Limit Series Racing will be on flow. They picked up the All-Star Circuit of Championships. So here are some questions that came out today. Will the series run more than 12 events in 24? Yes, High Limit Racing plans to have more than 50 events in 24. The series will also set dedicated off weekends to allow teams continued participation in sprint car racing's crown jewel events, basically meaning they're going to allow them off for the big outlaw events that pay a lot of money. A full schedule for 24 is expected to be released in the coming weeks, most likely in conjunction with PRI. What tracks will race High Limit? The High Racing National Tour will kick off in East Bay in Florida in February and end the inaugural season in the dirt track at Texas in October. A couple more statements. I think there might have been one more page there, Spencer, of those. But, did the name of the series change? Yes, it has changed from the High Limit Sprint Car Series to High Limit Racing. Will the series run only midweek races? No, the series will also compete on weekends, but midweek races will continue to be prevalent in the High Limit with a midweek money series. The midweek money series will race only on weekdays and will have a separate $100,000 point fund. So it's the best of both worlds. They're going to give all the 410 regular guys a national tour. They're also going to give Kyle Larson and some of these guys a chance to race through the midweek and have a chance at their own titles. So a bit self-serving for them. Maybe it's also an expansion on what they had been building already. And before you make a statement on that, of course, my phone starts ringing, and here come the questions. Are they going to Lush Weekend? I messaged Brad Sweet today. Let's see a look at the screenshot of that, Spencer. So I said, hey, Brad, congrats on your championship and the announcements this week. I realize it's unlikely, but any chance your new situation with High Limit opens up the possibility of coming to Canada for 2 dates? We have 2 tracks ready to pay. He said, I totally wish we could. I'll let you know if something changes. But it's not going to change. Not this year anyways. We haven't been in any talks for them to come to Canada. The Outlaws and High Limit have both told us no, so there won't be any Canadians coming. Won't be any of those 410 races coming to Canada this season, at least that we know of. The other track, just so you know, is Cornwall. Raymond blows up my phone constantly to get whatever big league series we can get from the States to come over, and I love him for it because he keeps us pushing. So as soon as Raymond sent me that text, I fired off one to Brad Sweet and got the typical answer back. So that's where we're at. Adam, what are your thoughts on High Limit?
Competition is healthy, especially if it's set up responsibly. So, and what I mean by that is sometimes people with big money will come in and try to make a big splash, but it's not a real business model. I believe what they've done is come in and made a big splash, then took on the All-Stars. So you've got a little bit of history, a little bit of credibility with what they've thrown into the mix. I don't see it as a bad thing at all. I think there's plenty of room for 2 prominent sprint car series in North America.
Yeah, Brian Carter and the Outlaws have to be feeling a little bit uncomfortable and not as cozy as they were a year or 2 ago even. They still have a fantastic product. They've got history. They've got, a brand, as Brian Carter has been slated as saying. On the other side of the fence, you have 2 guys that came up in sprint car racing, idolizing the sport, getting where they are in the world because of the sport. I don't see them trying to do anything self-serving enough to hurt the sport. I think, if anything, like you said, competition is going to be better. Flow racing, if you've got that means probably double and triple the sprint car racing we've had this year, and to go along with the competition from Dirt Vision. So if you got those, you're going to be set if you're a dirt fan.
No, for sure. And Mike Carra, with his opinion that flow racing is better than Dirt Vision, I would agree with that. In fact, I want to throw in some thoughts. I thought the World Finals were fantastic. I love that they took the time to work on the track and make it right. I think the 4-wide salute with all 3 divisions is very, very cool, but they absolutely crippled all 3 of their announcers trying to announce. What did they each do? They each announced 1 starting position. So 25th, 24th, 23rd, and then do modified sprint car.
So those are 2 different situations. The one night, I believe they did the 4-wide on the Friday, and then Saturday, and I like the concept, but I'm with you. The execution had me come on, it didn't flow. And what they did was they took their 3 there are three big. And we're talking about having them in the back of the pickup trucks, right? So they had 24 or 30 pickup trucks, which looked great. They had, and I love the idea of mixing one Super Dirt Car Big Block modified guy with your third place starter for the big blocks is going to ride with your third place starter for the Outlaws and your third place starter from the late Outlaw late models too. I should say sprint cars and late models. I love the concept, but what I was frustrated by it is whatever announcer was doing that particular truck, their guy got the pizzazz and he got the jazz, and the other guy was just Adam Ross and Clinton Geoffrey and Spencer Mullen, and then when the Outlaw guy came out, Johnny would give him all the gas, and I was just like, I don't know, and the flow of it, and we're watching them, and I'm like, introduce these guys. It took a while to get going. So the concept I'm sure in person it was awesome, but for TV it sucked.
If you were any of those three announcers, Clinton, did you love that, or did you absolutely hate having to do that? It's like a dog in boots.
I think
the
what
owner
they should
thinks
have done
it's so cute.
No, to make it better, they should have mic'd them all up and let them all be in every truck. So let Ruben do his late model guy, let Johnny do his sprint car guy, and let Mike Warren do the big block guy. And they can roll one through and everybody gets the same love. I just think that might have worked better. And then you could have had them bullshitting in between trucks if we have delays. Or, hey, can you believe that run Davenport had last night? They can kill it. It was just like uncomfortable 10 seconds, but when you're waiting on TV, it's pregnant. It's horrible to sit through, So I like the idea. It probably was awesome if you were there, but on the stream it lacked a bit. But I appreciate them trying to do stuff to kill time, because the core was they were working on the track, right?
Right, for sure. But I thought it was a great event. I enjoyed watching it. I thought they do a good job with the production. And ultimately, I think both Flow and Dirt Vision are very good production companies.
Oh yeah. The best in the business, aside from our crew.
Like, we're spoiled. Think about other sports. There is no other semi-professional sport that has this quality of broadcasting to enjoy.
Well, I don't know. Have you seen Frisbee Golf lately? They got some pretty good production out there on TSN 50,
You shut your face.
You shut your face. We heard enough of your voice today. Everybody, go to bed. Adam needs to go there too. We appreciate your time. We had some great discussions today. It's awesome we could have a spirit discussion with Gord. Great to have Kyle Steckley, arguably one of Canada's top upcoming guys here. And we'll continue pushing our business forward. Hey, one last note: if you're not Schweeken, get your banquet ticket. They're on sale till Friday. 630-ish people have already signed up, Adam, for tickets to our banquet next Friday. Our maximum is 700, and I think we might actually hit it.
What did we have last year?
620. Oh,
did you find?
Go ahead.
Did you find a replacement for me?
Yeah, we should talk about that quickly. We got a couple minutes left here. Maryville Bank was this Saturday. Yes, Tony Spiteri did step down from his general manager position at NASCAR Canada. They have not announced the new replacement yet.
No, I think they did.
Did they? I don't know if it's officially come out yet.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. I haven't seen a big flashy press release or nothing yet. I think that's still internal business, but the replacement's ready to come out. They have told us next week we're going to get the schedule, so we're waiting for news on the NASCAR Pinty Series next week. We should have some fresh news on. Hey Decker, how's it going? We did go curling, though. We went out to the Fresh Stone Curling Classic for the We Rock curling event. Showed the picture, Spencer. Jack, Abby, myself, and Adam had some fun out there. So I want to thank everybody from Fresh Stone and everybody at the St. Catharines Golf and Curling Club for having all of us out. There was about 70 of us out there for a great cause and crossing all bridges learning center. So we appreciate being invited out to that. It was a good time. I don't know what else we missed. I think that's about it. So then Adam, that's where we're going. Adam jumps into the silent auction. Carrie Underwood tickets playing Grey Cup
It's a
weekend.
bargain.
Wow, puts in $350 and he wins it. And then as they announce it, he says to me, "Hey, what night's the Oshweekend banquet?" The same night for the tickets you just paid $350 for, buddy. So who's going to the Carrie Underwood concert? Are you going yet?
No,
Have you
my
bailed
wife
out
and
yet?
Nicole. Now,
See,
Angie has a friend that she goes to a bunch of concerts with. So,
boy, you getting her? I hope you tacked on like early Christmas gift, like got some early credit for it, or did you just like hand
oh,
it over?
it's her birthday gift. Yeah, her birthday's
Good.
in November.
All right, I've trained you well. We're winning that battle a little bit.
It was a great cause.
But hold on, it just hit me. This laryngitis is not bullshit for a day off today. You're leading up to not being able to talk next Friday to go to the Carrie Underwood concert. Can you keep the facade up
I,
for 10 days?
I don't. Are you asking me at 48 years old if I can keep it up for 10 days? No.
All right, we'll see you at the banquet. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. Thanks, Spencer, for your overtime night. We always appreciate everybody hanging out with us. It's a good time. Even though we dread it at noon, we love you by 10 o'clock. Thanks, everybody, for being with us.
That's right.